welcomes safe return of the Super Eagles, demands swift justice after team's ordeal in Libya.
Federal government inaugurates steering committee for Nigeria Jubilee program.
Distribution companies blame Transmission Company of Nigeria for latest nationwide grid collapse.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall take a look at Nigeria's reputation management.
Well, Nigeria is arguably recognized as a giant in the global community. Now, this is for obvious reasons. Size as the 7th most populous country in the world, and her natural resources.
The country's image experienced some drastic negative transformation in the mid-1980s and was on this trajectory for many decades. Now, there are several images I'm trying not to recall about our dear country. The piercing gaze from security officials at almost all Western airports with a green when a green passport is pulled out. Oh yes, I'm sure many Nigerians have experienced this.
Ironically, many who experienced this had nothing to do with the negative perception of the country. Just a few bad eggs here and there gave Nigeria such an unpleasant reputation because of their involvement in shady, illegal, and criminal activities.
Now let's look at the 2019-2020 index, which ranked Nigeria's passport 98th out of 199 countries. And in 2020, her Human Development Index fell 3 places to 161 out of 189 nations.
Well, some reports have also indicated that other internal issues, such as corruption within the country, also affected the country's reputation, and in no small way.
But several efforts have been made to repair the country's image. It's no wonder 2013 data by the Republican Institute ranked Nigeria 50th on the most reputable countries in the world, indicating some progress.
Well, fast forward to today, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations is joining these efforts. It recently inaugurated a 23-man team known as the Nigeria Reputation Management Group Committee to help restore the country's good image.
Well, the question is, can the country's image be completely redeemed?
Well, it depends on who is looking at it. It's either the cup is half full or half empty. Some say it's gone beyond repair. Others are hopeful that we can
Some say the cup has been completely damaged. So, you know. Anyways, this initiative will be officially unveiled today, talking about the NIPR damage control, or if you like, the repair of the Nigerian image. And members of the committee will be joining us shortly. We'll also take a look at the Nigeria Institution of Surveyors and its 90th anniversary. That's a big one. That's our outlook on Good Morning Nigeria today. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Henry John.
And I'm Victor. As well, let me also welcome you to today's program. We are reaching you on the network service of the NTA. As usual, Chukwudi Okoli Obaja will join us later on for the newspaper review, but that will be after the news with Sawa Khalil Ibrahim. Good morning, Sawa.
Before you say good morning to Sawa, she's just back from leave, looking fresh and well rested. Sawa, good to have you back.
Thank you, Gary and Victor. Good morning. Here is the news at 7. President Bola Tinubu, deeply moved by the inhumane treatment endured by the Super Eagles of Nigeria at the Libyan airport, warmly welcomes their safe return to Nigeria. The harrowing experience of the national football team at the hands of their host and the Libyan authorities prompted the Nigerian Football Federation to withdraw the Super Eagles from the scheduled match which is supposed to hold today, Tuesday. President Tinubu expects the disciplinary board of the Confederation of African Football (CAF) to conduct a thorough investigation and recommend appropriate action against those who willfully violated the organization's statutes and regulations. The president commends the proactive coordination between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Federal Ministry of Sport Development in addressing the unfortunate episode and ensuring the safe return of our players. President Tinubu applauded the players for keeping their spirit alive despite the excruciating ordeal in Libya. The Nigerian leader recognizes football's unifying power in bringing nations and people together and views the treatment of our citizens as unsportsmanlike and inhumane, a stark contrast to the spirit of the game. He deeply appreciates Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says the President Tinubu fervently calls on all lovers of the round ladder game and administrators to unite and work collaboratively to prevent and overcome such incidents in the future. Now, the federal government has inaugurated a steering committee of the Nigerian Jubilee program as part of measures to scale up its employment initiative and enhance employability of fresh graduates with market-ready skills and competence. Vice President Kashim Shettima, while inaugurating the committee, described the program as a decisive step toward equipping Nigerian youth with the required tools to become employees, innovators, and leaders in their chosen career. Now, the electricity distribution company in Nigeria have notified their customers of a general system collapse that occurred at 18:48 hours of Monday, 14th October 2024. The distribution company says this resulted in the loss of electricity supply currently being experienced across networks. Consequently, the distribution companies note that all interface with the transmission companies of Nigeria TCN stations are out of supply and they are unable to provide services to electricity customers. The 30th Nigerian Economic Summit themed collaborative action for growth, competitiveness, and stability has begun in Abuja, bringing together stakeholders from various sectors to ensure key economic challenges and opportunities. Moplang Dakok report that a session on regulatory reforms for economic growth and competitiveness highlighted the critical role of micro, small, and medium enterprise in Nigeria's economic development. Participants stressed the need for targeted regulatory frameworks that will support MSMEs, driving themed towards greater competitiveness and stability in the economy.
The farm to market.
I think that we need to double our effort. We need to double our resources as well in creating those policies that would engineer growth.
The summit are guided by three core pillars: people, leadership, and institutions. These themes focus on empowering the workforce, strengthening governance, and building resilient institutions that can drive sustainable economic growth. Now, the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, led by Umar Damagun, is threatening to report to the police its suspended officers for contempt of court. Acting National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Ibrahim Manga, stated this at a media briefing in Abuja, where he also alleged that some prominent members of the party are fueling the ongoing rift.
Boy, it is strange in the face of law and it constitutes nothing. And therefore, nobody also has shown his face, neither the suspended colleague of mine, National Publicity Secretary, nor the legal advisor has came anywhere near the Secretariat for this period.
That's the news at this time. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Henry and Victor after the commercial break.
As your president, I assure you that we are committed to finding sustainable solutions to alleviate the suffering of our citizens. Once again, I plead for your patience as the reforms we are implementing show positive signs, and we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Nivea Dry Deodorant with 72-hour reliable odor protection from Dual Effect Formula for a dry and fresh skin feeling that gives you confidence every day. Nivea Dry is now available in 25 ml for 72-hour odor and sweat protection.
I think Amaka should just move out of the house.
Yes. No. Standing out of the house is not the right thing to do.
Oh, there you go again with your sentimental family stuff.
Baby, if our aim is to stop this affair, it is best achieved under our roof.
You do something terrible and you'll be acting innocent.
What are you going on about?
Don't ask me that question again. You couldn't even control yourself in the presence of our visitors.
What are you accusing me of, woman?
My son, I don't know how serious you are with my daughter, but there's something that needs to be done urgently before you move any further.
Anything, just anything, just say it. I'm ready to do anything.
There is a spell that needs to be removed.
A spell?
Family forever, the story of our lives.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear in colors, with undying demand, we make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Each of this city is unique, we have more than the solution. We are Nigeria, strength in unity, we know they carry love. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. It's time for newspaper review.
All right, we have Chukwudi Okoli Ugbaja with us this morning. Chukwudi, good to see you. Good morning.
You actually look like somebody who is happy to see me.
Yes, I am.
Your sincerity is transparent. Hello, Nyere. Victor.
Well, I'm not happy to see you. I'm just okay seeing you.
You look like...
That's what you want to hear?
You look like somebody who is ambitious towards a throne, a young monarch in the making.
He's not likely going to get it, by the way. He's not likely going to get it, by the way. Remember the last time you were on? You said he's not a good man, so we want good people on the throne. So let's see what the papers have this morning. The lead stories on the front pages, of course. So we'll begin with the People's Daily. And it leads with Tinubu demands swift justice over Super Eagles' mistreatment in Libya. All right, that's the lead story. And above that, flooding, over 300 houses destroyed in Benue. We must act collectively to tackle unemployment, says Shatima. All right, below the picture story, still on the front page of the People's Daily, we have man backed 7 years imprisonment for the filing minor in Kano. That's on page 7 if you want to see that. And on page 14 rather, you can read up the story on Edo Guba. PDP heads to tribunal. Education, new curriculum to commence January 2025, according to Minister. You want to find out what that's about. And of course, this is coming from our very own former First Lady, Patience Jonathan. Shun prostitution and drug abuse. Patience Jonathan urges ladies. All right, so let's see the Daily Trust quickly now. The Daily Trust leads with this headline that says 50-year-old students sues Education Ministry, JAMB, NUC over admission policy. The writer says 18-year admission threshold discriminatory. We're not aware of case yet, according to ministry. All right, that's on page 3. And we have Nigeria boycotts AFCON qualifier after Libya ordeal, because that's in all the papers this morning. And over 2 million people displaced as 200 Kogi communities flooded, according to the government. And that's on page 3. Below that, the PDP drama is right here. PDP governors meeting on Damagum's fate, deadlocked. Page 8 has all the details. And that's it from the Daily Trust. Let's see what Victor is doing.
All right. I have the blueprint, and it leads with this story: 2025 AFCON qualifiers. Nigeria demands justice over Super Eagles' harrowing experience in Libya. And it has 3 riders: Ekong, Boniface, Osimhen, lament ordeal. Treatment sad, despicable, say NIDCOM, Shehu Sani. CAF refers case to disciplinary board. Libya FA denies sabotage. And you find the story on pages 7 and 32. And above that story and just below the nameplate, $1.6 billion fraud. Ex-AGF co-defendant submits plea bargain proposal to EFCC. Page 9. And cheaper petrol likely as Dangote marketers discuss oil lifting. Page 21. And in sports, former Green Eagles goalkeeper Fregene is dead. That's page 32. And above the masthead, subsidy removal will discourage cross-border smuggling. That's according to Kiari. For how? Find it on page 20. And then there is this picture story of a collapsed building, 3-story building at number 16 Amusu Street, Sari Gomu in Lagos. That's on Monday. And you can imagine what that feels like with people living there. And with 9.1 trillion naira revenue, $6 billion capital inflow in 6 months, Tinubu's reforms working. Economy showing signs of hope and resurgence. That's according to Independent Media and Policy Initiative, IMPI. Okay, I think we should leave it here, but just after this final story, autonomy, Nasarawa moves to abolish Ministry of Local Government, joint account. I think that's the way to go. Chukwode.
Oh, that's a very good one coming from Nasarawa.
Because let them have Ministry of Local Government.
Let them be wonderful trailblazers. But at the end of the day, should it ever come into contention whether a Supreme Court judgment should be obeyed or not? I think it's all procedural. They have no choice. Everyone has to eventually allow that autonomy thing to kick in because that's what the Supreme Court has said. We must make that very clear.
And stop resisting.
So that people do not have the impression that they can try an alternative. There is no alternative. That should be something the media should come down hard on about, rather. Fregene is dead. Nigeria has had very good goalkeepers, but Fregene happens to be one of the very best we've had. May his soul rest in perfect peace. I hope we recognized his meritorious duties to this country while he was still alive.
I was going to ask, is there imperfect peace?
Imperfect what?
Peace.
We didn't come here for gymnastics in semantics or elocution. Can we please concentrate on newspaper review? I saw that mischief on your face, even though it was, clouded in a seeming smile.
You can have imperfect peace, by the way.
I'm not sure. Peace is peace.
I'll explain that to you much later.
Newspaper review, lady and gentlemen. Now, the young man who is suing the Ministry of Education, JAM, and the rest of them over the 16-year thing, the 18 years which has been pegged for entry into tertiary education. Tertiary should be university level, third tier. Now, I don't think there's a lot of brouhaha that should, rise from all this. The important thing is, has anyone impugned a law? I like taking us, there's so much theatricals about the way we live our lives. Is it law? If it's not law, challenge it on the basis of law. Don't challenge it on the basis of emotion. That's the point. We said the other time, I said, when my children were about to get into the university, I was then working for MBI. Somebody asked me, Chukwudi, why are you in this hurry to push your children into the university? I spent a lot of time in the UK and all that. People don't rush into tertiary institutions like that. So while Nigerians clamor for something that distinguishes us, positively maybe, we should also compare ourselves to some education systems in the world to make sure we are not a pariah over certain things. For instance, when people say that he must be 6 before he gets into primary school, they are looking at the span for development of the cognitive abilities and all that. They are looking at how independent would he be to some extent when he does step outside into the school system and all that. So there are psychological considerations concerning all this. But that's not to say the young man does not have a right to challenge. I'm just saying my own, interpretation of it. Yes. The floods are doing the rounds. The rounds are going to continue till the end of October or even second week of November. It's unfortunate how we have to recycle stories about the flood on and on and on.
And return next year to do same.
Yeah, it became a ritual. But then, the other thing I said was, if it's about the Lagdo Dam again, is there no way we can begin to think of channeling waters from that side? It's going to be a big job, but we can embark on a massive piping system that can channel water from the Cameroon down to the Atlantic, whatever the topography is. It's a huge sum. It is not something I think the Nigerian authorities only can do. The UN with its relevant agencies should step in to make sure that this happens. The environment actually is taking a lot of blasting from so many things, the elements especially. So we have to plan ahead. Climate change is no longer anybody's friend in the world. So we have to be preemptive rather than reactive. In the interim, what is the integrity of buildings being erected on our landscape? Who is blocking the drainages and all that? Those are the little things we can do. It's not fair what is happening about floods on and on in this country. But it's not only Nigeria. Remember that cars were practically swollen. Swallowed in a deluge, just 3 days ago, was the city again now? Was it Florida or not Florida? I can't be specific yet. But floods were really ravaging over there, and it doesn't look ready to abate yet. So man has to plan. even though you can't stop Mother Nature when it really is in a rage.
You know, said Chukudi. Just before we go, two things in the papers: the basic education new curriculum, which begins in January 2025, and looking at the details of that, it shows that skills will be introduced into the curriculum, just so that
Please mention the skills. I saw hairstyling, and I'm beginning to say, now we're becoming serious. Nyere, I don't know how much. Let me not mention the category of a university degree I had about 38 years ago. I don't know how much it has done for me in life. I'm not disparaging education. But skills are it. When you have a product that people must ask for, even your enemy, you have come to the platform for making money. That's a simple secret.
Actually,
so I'm really very happy about this.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. You know, incorporating skills into, you know, the formal education they received from the four walls of the classroom, of course, makes them better equipped to face the future.
Yeah,
looking at the way the country
very
is
important.
Going. Yeah,
I am happy about it.
Yeah, of course. And then the power grid collapse. It's the 5th time this year. So and then you ask, when would this ever end?
I wanted to ask you whether that is really news now.
You know, a former minister would say it's not collapse. It's not collapse. It's I don't know what word they will use for it.
A journalist would always want to be patriotic, but it reserves a little mischief so that it can help him write why the glass is half empty of water.
I think it's disputable anyway. Maybe the grid probably didn't collapse. Maybe it fainted.
Well, the good thing is that we read last week that we have pushed generation above 5,000 megawatts now. So, well, it's just that between President Jonathan's time and now, I don't know how much progress we have really made. And that's not good for us.
Well, people talk about, we've had guests here talk about, you know, aging infrastructure, among other things, lack of, you know, sufficient funding, insufficient funding and all that as part of the issues.
I'm not so sure I did so well in the MBA class.
Until these
but there is such a thing as building depreciation into your planning. Depreciation is very important. When you buy machinery, brand new, you're going to depreciate it and know when it will stop working positively for the company and sell it off or scrap it, whatever. Why didn't we plan that concerning that? So obsolete equipment does not mean anything to me.
Okay. All right. So just a quick explanation of what imperfect peace is, Victor. So when you do something wrong and your wife is quiet about it, that's imperfect peace. But we have perfect peace in the studio.
Did you hear that?
So we'll take a break. When we come back, we get into the conversation. Stay with us.
A new edition of TV Guide is out.
This time, we got up close and personal with a transformational legislator, the Deputy President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Barrel Jibrin.
We've created a difference in terms of representation through interventions that have brought an unprecedented infrastructural development to my area.
This edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from technology, entertainment, economy, media, politics, family, and lots more.
It is indeed a park of excitement as we take you through every aspect of life. Pick up your copy and get abreast with issues and trending features within our space.
TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Diadem family! Hey, we go here today.
Back then I used to be Rasaki, but now I'm rebranded. Call me Shegun, you can call me no guest.
How did you meet your lovely wife?
It was an amazing journey.
Adewale, mention a characteristic of a deceitful person.
Cheating. You're corny. Pretense.
You're selfish.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
And Nigeria means
peaceful cohesion.
My country.
We continue to pray, and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together.
Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength.
Ever since the amalgamation period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
All over the country, you have so many ethnic groups, over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country that, God has kept, together as one indivisible entity.
All right, if you just joined us, this is Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA, the largest network in Africa. And as a prompt for our conversation this morning, let's quickly take a look at this background report compiled by Dennis Temple.
Nigeria, often referred to as the giant of Africa, is the continent's most populous country, rich in cultural heritage with diverse ethnic groups and significant natural resources. However, its reputation on the global stage is complex, shaped by a mix of historical, economic, and socio-political factors. Former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, once remarked that Nigeria's image has plunged southwards, indicating a decline over the years. Recent global rankings reflect this sentiment. Nigeria's passport ranks 98th out of 199 countries, and its Human Development Index 2020 has fallen 3 places to 161 out of 189 nations. For a country that once wielded substantial influence in continental and global affairs, this negative image is concerning. In 2019, Nigeria was ranked the 3rd most dangerous country in terms of terrorism and corruption, a status that is both reprehensive and damaging to its standing among the international community. The managed group of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations is taking proactive steps to change the narrative. The question remains, what must be done to chart a new course for Nigerians, fostering a more cohesive nation without perpetuating negative influences? How can Nigeria's rich cultural heritage, resource potential, and youthful dynamism provide hope for a brighter future? Guests on Good Morning Nigeria will provide more insights into the discussion.
All right, thank you for that background report. And to begin our first conversation, we have two, by the way. We have some guests already seated in the studio and joining us to discuss this. Dr. Ike Neliako, President, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and Chairman of Council. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
We have also been joined here by Yomi Badejo Okunsoya, Director General, Nigeria Reputation Management Group. Welcome you to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right. Also joining us for the conversation, but via Zoom, all the way from Lagos. It's a pleasure to have Nkechi Ali Balogun, FNIPR member, Nigeria Reputation Management Group Committee. Many thanks for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
Well, let's begin this conversation. The question on non-partisan, someone, a neutral, would say the image must be so battered that you considered doing this. So how bad, from the perspective of the NIPR, to necessitate doing this?
Not necessarily so battered, because there are 5 essential elements according to what LinkedIn calls public diplomacy principle. There are 5 essential elements. First is culture. Second is environment. Third is governance. Fourth is society. And the 5th, I can't remember. Now, out of these 5 elements, you can say that Nigeria is challenged in the area of governance, but our culture is very rich. Our society is vibrant. We have very enterprising Nigerians who have excelled across the world. They are celebrated. Our environment is one of the best in the world in terms of what we have and so on and so forth. So we have our challenges, all right, but we have more that can be celebrated. The issue is that we have not really harnessed and harvested these elements as part of the reputation pillars and reputation drivers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your image does not have to be battered for you to reinvent your reputation. Reputation is a principle. Reputation is a way of life. Reputation is a capital. It's an asset. It's just like you saying that you start work because you are destroyed. No, you start work because you need a means of livelihood. You want to start earning. That's what it does for you. So rebranding, as some will call it, repackaging, renaissance, reinventing, and so on and so forth. The important thing is that your reputation is a core asset. Your reputation has capital value. And it is the way you package your reputation that your value becomes stronger. Nations that have managed carefully, skillfully, their reputation, you will see that it's not that they don't have problems. It's only when you dig in, if you have the opportunity of digging in into such a society, that you will discover that their problems are even worse than what we have in Nigeria. But they have managed, they are very skillful in managing their reputation. They know that this is the way society is built. And from your report, I'm very glad that the person who did that foundational report brought out a number of indices that show that we are challenged. But the person didn't tell us that in the area of fashion, for instance, Nigeria is one of the best in the world. In the area of entertainment, Nigeria is one of the best in the world. In the area of academic, Nigeria is one of the best in the world. You have Nigerian, in the area of professionalism and excellence, Nigerians are soaring so high. So why must we abandon all these other positive elements that define us as a people and then succumb to the few issues, the challenges that we have? Please mind my expression. I acknowledge very strongly that we have challenges. Very, very strongly. We have challenges, but that's not all that we have in this country. This country is one of the best in the world. Now we need to showcase it deliberately and skillfully. That's what NIPR is doing through NRMG.
Thank you very much, Dr. Neliako, for your opening comments. Indeed, you have spoken well. And, you know, and I like the fact that you've accepted that we have some challenges. And maybe those challenges, you know, are the reasons why when you take your green passport to certain places, you know, they want to double check, you know, and be sure, you know, what it is that you want to do in their space. So these challenges are, you know, we need to talk about these challenges. Agree that, yes, there's so many things that, you know, Nigeria is known for positively, but there are some negatives. And I would like Yomi Badajo Okunsoya to let us know, really, you know, these things that have shaped us negatively, that is affecting our reputation. Could you just highlight a few of them?
Well, I think you know them as well as I do. When there are issues, when you talk about Nigeria, what comes to mind? I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and it says when you mention the name Nigeria, what comes to mind? And you know, I don't want to mention all the negatives. We really already know them. One of it has been mentioned by the president: the issue of governance, and you know, illicit trade, and you know, we don't need to emphasize on some of the negatives. We really do know, because in those days, I remember my first time of going to the United Kingdom. I believe it was 1997. We didn't need a visa. You just got onto a plane and you went to England. You didn't need a visa. Then number two, I remember very well, changing naira on Oxford Street for dollar. And the naira was stronger than the dollar. Not that they told me, I experienced it.
So what do you think changed?
Governance. He did mention it, the issue of governance. I think we failed to plan well. We failed to, the vision that our forefathers, the people who helped us, midwife independence, the vision they set, we didn't follow it.
But what also happened to our values as a people?
Oh, definitely. The values have changed. I mean, in before we would say we are brothers keepers, even though we fought this, I think the word is fratricide or war, the war that happened, but we're still our brothers keepers, irrespective of what happened. But those values have changed. So you find now that there's a lot of celebration of wealth, that it's upside down, and these are part of the things that the Nigerian Reputation Management Group will address. That because without values produce character, and character builds trust, and from trust you gain reputation. So it is a process which you follow. So definitely it's something that we need to look at and see how we can. If you see the values, our core values as the Nigeria Reputation Management Group, you see that those values, one of the things is that we would like to engender what you call behavioral change. Because people imagine that if I do this, it doesn't matter. It does matter.
All right. Thank you very much, Yomi Badejo Kusoya. Let me get over to Nkechi Ali Balogun, fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Thank you for joining us. Now, you've had the privilege of listening to your colleagues in the studio. And one thing we can easily take away from the first two, issues that have been raised here is that, yes, let's leave the negatives and talk about the positives. That's a major. But then some will argue that it is what pinches you that you are bound to talk about, that you are bound to react to, that you are bound to respond to. And so if the NIPR is going to embark on this, the management of reputation and all of that, and issues that affected it in the first place, that affected our reputation remain, how easy is the task that you are embarking on? Because when the issues remain, the people continue to feel it and they continue to talk about it, whether they are negatives or not.
Well, thank you very much. I totally agree with you that the issues are enormous, but it is not insurmountable. I thank my president for highlighting the challenges. Yes, we have challenges, but you see, these challenges, have we created a medium, a channel, to actually address them? And that is why the Reputation Management Group is very key at this time. At this time in our history in Nigeria, we need a channel, a tool to address the single story narrative of Nigeria. All right, because when you come to think of it, Nigeria is not the only country that is having these issues. But the thing is that we don't have a platform where we can tell the world who we are, to begin to understand us, to begin to know our values, to begin to know our morals, our tradition, and to begin to change their perspectives. Because as we are right now, it's like the whole world has been programmed to look at Nigerians in a particular way. But have we been able to fight this? No, we have not. Because one, we don't have the channel. Two, we don't even have a way, you know, to make sure that we inculcate these values into our children. For instance, our children go all over the world to study, and they imbibe all kinds of tradition. Sometimes you don't even know who a Nigerian is when they come back. All these all these impacts on who we are. So NIPR is coming to the rescue, if I will put it that way. It is time for us to let the world begin to understand us. It is only when they understand us and they know the knowledge, they have the knowledge of who we are, of what our values are, then they'll begin to have a different perspective about us. Because, for instance, I'll give you an example. I was telling somebody the other day, I could meet a Ghanaian in UK and call him my brother. The white man will not understand, because we are brought up to be our brother's keepers. And anybody who is an African, if I meet him in Europe, is my brother. So I am not lying. But the white man might see me as lying. These are some of the values we have to put to the world. Because really, Africa is very rich in tradition, in values, in intelligence. All over the world, Nigerians are all over the world doing great things, impacting the world. They are disruptive, they are innovative, they are creative, they have content, but we don't have a channel. We don't have a tool, we don't have a channel, we don't have a medium to celebrate us.
Thanks, Nkechi Ali Balogun, for your opening comments. Very interesting. We do not have a channel, and the NIPR thinks it can be a channel to rebrand Nigeria. Fantastic. Just thinking back, the government itself has tried to rebrand the country. I remember one time Minister of Information came about with the slogan, good people, great nation. We had change begins with you. We had do the right thing. I mean, every administration, there's always an effort, to rebrand the country. Have you thought about why those efforts didn't work? And what do you think the NIPR will be doing differently this time?
Thank you. Let me add the fourth one, the Heart of Africa. You recall, we had the Heart of Africa, which was then regarded as a robust campaign by the then Minister of Information. But you see, from our research, and this is why I really, really commend the committee, the NRMG committee that the DG is here with us. They did a thorough study to understand why those processes, if I have to put it in that context, because if they had continued, would have gone somewhere. People don't trust government with certain projects. The trust deficit is weak and poor because of the subject matter of reputation. Reputation, the reputation capital of governments over a period of time has been very low. And then it's like that distrust keeps building from one level to another level to another level. That's number one. Number two, because of the changes in governance, each administration comes with its own policy, system, thinking, and so on and so forth. When the next person comes, the challenge of successor placement becomes an issue because the person now wants to run his own thing. He doesn't want to run on another track. What the NIPR has done is to bring together all that happened in the past under a private sector-led organization. And what will be the difference? The difference is that it is going to be private sector. The difference is that it is going to be citizen-driven. The difference is that it is not the usual thing. By the way, we didn't just wake up to create this process. It started as far back as 2022 when we hosted the Citizen Summit for national integration, peace, and security. We brought people from all over Nigeria and even outside Nigeria. They sat. This project is one of the 22 recommendations of that summit that NIPR, in partnership with other organizations, relevant organizations, should institute the Nigeria Reputation Management Group as a platform to help to attend to this. But it should be a private sector-led platform, and it should be citizens-driven. That is the difference. So it doesn't matter whether anybody is in government. When he finishes and goes, this process continues.
When you say
Today,
citizens,
just a moment. Today, we have a Minister of Information who is supervising NIPR. He's working with us on this project. When he leaves, another minister comes. NRMG will not change. We'll work with that minister. Another one comes. So by the time we take it, like Nkechi Ale Balogu said, over a period of time, consciously and deliberately, you will see that things will begin to change. And I'm glad that she talked about programming, because we must not fail to know that nations are programmed. Some nations are programmed to fail. Some nations are programmed to succeed. If you don't rewrite, first of all, unwrite and rewrite your program, you will continue to go deeper and deeper into the abyss, because that is how you have been programmed. We are now reprogramming the destiny of Nigeria, and we are doing it deliberately in a systemic form.
Who do you think has the main ability to reprogram a country? Do you think a private entity can reprogram
a private
people?
entity can initiate the process. Yes, because a private entity is part of the society. In fact, a private entity is in a better position to see what those in government are not seeing. I know where you're going. Policies are made by government, leadership issues, and so on and so forth. Yes. But have you seen, I don't want to call the country, have you seen this country that began a process in 1970? Fantastic country. But they discovered that they were not friendly people. They were not hospitable people. People were running away from them. People were avoiding them. Then some people came together, just like NIPR, and initiated a simple project that they called Social Country Hospitality Project. They mobilized the nation. They groomed the nation. They trained the people on their own. Government was forced to reckon with them because they became a force. And then government came into it. And today, you travel to that country to go and enjoy what they have in that country. It is a product of somebody's, people's thinking from a private sector approach. We must not think that everything should be left in the hands of government. No, everything does not rise and fall in government. I know that some people say that in Africa, after God is government. But you see, you can influence government as powerful as they are.
If you can influence
you
government.
Can influence government.
If you can influence government from what you said, Dr. Neliako,
yes,
which I agree with you that it's possible. How do you want to influence citizen mindset? Because you talked about citizen-driven.
Yes.
How do you want to change, the mindset of a young Nigerian, for example, who is thinking about the quickest way to make money and thinking about, how people in government, for example, make money within the twinkle of an eye and wants to also find other means to do the same thing, irrespective of how it damages the image of the country or not? How do you want to change that?
In the beginning, it was not so. It wasn't so. We have witnessed, just like YBO said, a collapse of our value system. You need to re-engage the minds of these citizens. His mindset. In this country, we had a program called MAMSA. I don't know if you were comfortable, if you were around that time. Yeah. We had a program called MAMSA. What did MAMSA do? What was even the philosophical framework of MAMSA? Nigeria needed to go into democracy. The thinking then was that Nigeria has been so militarized that they needed a mindset, a retuning to get into democracy. Then MAMSA, mass mobilization for social and economic reconstruction. And then the right man was picked to do that. He went around this country, mobilized Nigerians, and taught Nigerians that whatever is given to you to do, do it well, so that you'll be contributing to the center in making sure that things are done very well. It has happened before. It can happen again. It's mindset reconstruction. We need to start from somewhere. And that we have observed, it's not going to be easy. It's not a tea party. This journey started in 2022. As a matter of fact, it started really in 2021. Okay? We are 3 years in it. And today we are now having a platform after 3 years of debating, discussing, consulting, researching, and so on. The next level is to now go into the field. You will be amazed who Nigerians are. Nigerians are wonderful people. Nigerians are some of the best you can get anywhere on earth, even in this country. When they trust you, they follow you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Neliako. Well, we take the challenge. It takes somebody to initiate us, a group to initiate and then drive the process. Let me ask you, DG, what is your modus operandi going to be? How do you intend to achieve this?
Okay. So we're going to have a body, this body known as the Nigerian Reputation Management Group. And basically what they're saddled with is driving the reputation of the country. It's going to be run by a board, which will be constituted by the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, headed by a chairman, and then we have members of the body. We're going to have work groups, and some of the work groups include strategy, policy, mobilize communication, and so on, events, programs, and so on. Now, let me tell you, there are 4 or 5 things significantly that we're going to be doing. One is we're going to be having what you call annual reputation summits. Annual reputation summit. And what is that annual? Ongoing right now in Abuja is what you call the economic summit, focused on economy. We are going to have our summit focused on reputation. So yearly, we'll bring together stakeholders and we'll be able to discuss on what are the challenges, what are the solutions, how well we've done, and so on and so forth. Number 2, significantly, this day, today, we are making a formal request to the Federal Republic of Nigeria that October 15 be recognized and designated and declared as the Nigeria Reputation Day. That will be celebrated not just in Nigeria, but across the globe. All our missions across. And what is it? That day, we will focus on those things that improve the reputation of Nigeria. Number 3, we're going to have an annual reputation report, which means that we will track how well we're doing. This will take off from 2025. So like my president has said, can you see how the difference in, while the other approaches, and with due respect to them, have been top down, top bottom, we are going from bottom up. It's taken us 3 years to get to where we are, and we are giving ourselves yet another year for us to fully activate some of these things. Number 4, we're going to have what you call a reputation charter. And what is that? Those are our do's and don'ts. And already we have some organizations that are partnering with the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, and we can infer that they are partnering with the Nigerian Reputation Management Group. And I'm happy to announce that one of those organizations is NTA. So very soon, you will be seeing, we'll be sharing our charter, which says that these are the things you can do, these are the things you cannot do. Then we are now coming to an advocacy campaign, which is what you've seen before. All the good people, it's an advocacy campaign. So if you notice the difference, those ones were standalones. But this one, we've got breadth. So we'll then have those advocacy campaigns that will run all over. We're going to then also have workshops where we go round explaining to people what you should be doing. So NTA can invite us and we take the staff on workshop.
Thank you very much.
Those are some of the
Yomi
things.
Badajo Okunsoya.
Those are some of the things.
Those are some. Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted him to touch on all, then we can interrogate from there.
Anyways,
If
because
there's more,
there's basically those are some of the. I think I've listed about 5.
The major.
Okay.
Reputation fair.
Reputation fair. Fantastic. You know, all those programs are beautiful. You know, but there's something my father used to tell me as a child, that it's when a fish is still fresh that you bend it, not when it's dried.
Yeah.
And these programs you have mentioned are targeted at Nigerians that are already up there, already adults who have already formed character. I'm wondering how they would turn a new leaf, how they would change. And you don't seem to mention anything that focuses on the young Nigerians who are just being born, who are, coming up, who are watching what we are doing, or, watching what the leaders are doing. And some people would say, is it really possible to change a Nigerian who is already, formed the habit, who already has a way he thinks, life should go? My question is targeted at Nkechi because, I want to know how we can begin to build trust again, in our leaders, in our fellow Nigerian, when we do whatever it is that we want to do. With all these programs that you said, how is it really going to change the narrative? Looking at the fact that I have not heard any program that targets the young people.
Well, like we've said, it's not going to be something that will be achieved overnight. Mindsets have been created, and what we want to be is to add some intentionality to what we do and focus. And then the DJ just mentioned a reputation charter. If you remember, some months back last year, the president, the Ministry of Information, nominated a team to come up with a value charter for Nigeria. Now, in collaboration with NIPR, especially, it will now be our responsibility to make sure that whatever values we have in these charters, are inculcated in our curriculum, in the way we live, and then we must also be ready to carry families, parents along, teachers, educational institutions, so that at the end of the day, this thing we're talking about is very serious. Our children especially have been so programmed to believe everything foreign. That appears in our makeup, in everything we do. So intentionality, focus, and a curriculum that addresses who we are. I keep emphasizing it. I am happy being in Nigeria. I am happy being an African. And I'm one of those that believe that I don't have anything, and I mean anything, to learn from the Western world. Because we have our system of education, we have our culture, we have the way we dress, we have the way we eat. Now, it is now left for us to now start all over again from our homes. Teach our children to eat snacks. Teach our children to dress the way we dress. Thank God today, Ankara is taking over the world. Our music is taking all over the world. So, if our governance will learn a shift system where a new government that comes, it will start from where the other one stopped, we will not be having these problems. My president just said something now. We started reputation management group, and we are working with a minister who happens to be one of us. What happens when another minister comes who may not be one of us, or who may not believe in what we are doing? So these things, so there must be collaboration between government and families and schools and everybody. It's a collective effort. In those days, when in primary school in those days, I don't know if you did civics. We did civics, right? It was in civics that they told us why we must love our country. It was there they taught us what patriotism is all about. We learned road safety, we learned some of these things. And even the president just told you about MAMSA. Jerry Garner left us with, if you are a teacher, you teach well. If you are a director, you direct well. These are slogans that we can come up with and reorientate our people. There's need for reorientation. There's need for cultural reorientation, letting us know that there is nothing wrong with us. There is nothing wrong with Begiri. There is nothing wrong with Tuwo Shinkafa. There is no, we just have to teach them. Our children come in blank. We are the ones that feel. What are we feeling? What values are we living in the minds of our children? So, yes, your question, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. It has to be on deck. Thank you.
I'd like to chip in a bit.
All right, but why
Because
chip
of
in?
the question, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Two things that the NIPR has done and is doing. When the current council came in, we discovered that there is a gap between us as adults, experienced practitioners, and young people. We created a whole hub known as NIPR Young Professionals Hub. It's now running and functional. They are part of this process. As a matter of fact, their national secretary is a member of his committee. They are the ones handling the programs for young people. They are the ones advising us that we have to go to schools, we have to go to NYSC, we have to start even from primary schools, secondary schools, universities, and they are the ones that are running that race. We are giving them the backing and the professional support. Secondly, 4 organizations have already signed in on a TV radio program, Reputation First. This platform will be used to deepen the work of NRMG. But guess what? The technical team that is designing this program said one of the anchors must be a young person, because that is the biggest demography that we have, and we need to get them in. So it's their program. We will only be there to support them. We can't say everything at a stretch, but I thank you for drawing these things out. We have a robust engagement. As a matter of fact, this will ride on the back of young people, because they are the present that we need to address to have a secure future.
All right. All of this will cost money. How do you intend to get funds for this program?
Well, we hope to get, let me even go back. In my experience, in what I have done in the past, money follows good programs. Go and mark it anywhere.
Good ideas.
Money follows good ideas. Where are we getting the money we are using for NIPR? Where? All the things we have done in the last 1 year, if we quantify the cost, it will be amazing. Where are we getting it? Money follows good ideas and good programs. So that's not an issue.
All right.
It will come.
Thank you, Dr. Neliako. Now, everyone here, all of you have made copious reference to MAMSA as an example. But some will argue that MAMSA hasn't been such a success anyway, given where we have found ourselves needing you to intervene at this point. And so, what lessons have you drawn from previous such programs like MAMSA that you intend, to put forward in your own initiative to make it work and even better?
Sustainability. Sustainability. You must put in place effective mechanism for sustainability. That's number one. Number two, you must put in place firewalls that will ensure that this vision is not hijacked. Thirdly, you must run this exercise in a very credible manner that people will desire to see what is going on. MAMSA was a product of a regime. When the regime finished, the regime went. Another administration now, in fact, another regime came and then changed the name Gabadaya from MAMSA to Noah. And then from then till today. All right? So, three things again that I have to add. Number one, you can have the best of programs. But if you don't have the best of managers to run it, you will have a problem. Go and check those who are members of the Nigeria Reputation Management Group Committee. You will understand that we took time to select the best in the industry. Watch out for those who are going to serve on the board of this group. They will be people of no mean character. Just imagine, okay, today we are unveiling 3 critical elements. Minister of Information, who is a reputation driver for government in Nigeria, is the chief host. Minister of Foreign Affairs, reputation driver for international matters, is the special guest of honor. But guess what? Dr. John Momo is the chairman of the event. These are people that have been carefully selected. There are some people that came to us and said, in fact, some wanted to play key roles. And we said, no, you don't fit in.
How many women do you have in this committee?
About 6 of them.
What's the total number of the members of the committee?
About
13. 13, about half of the committee
fantastic.
are women.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are deliberate. We are deliberate.
In fact, one of our core values is inclusivity.
Exactly. You will
One
see
of our
it.
core
I think
values.
at this point, Ray can go home.
And,
You can just get up and go home.
no, I'm sure you'll be
So
happy
long as
to
you
know
have half
one
of
of the
them as
leaders
women.
of the committee is a certain lady known as Mrs. Mojima Konjola. Are you familiar with that name?
Of course.
Aha. So
ask her.
Nkechi Ali Balogun.
Nkechi Ali Balogun.
So
Haji
Lami
Lami
Tumaka, Dr.
Miss
Alice Ajay.
Ajay.
These are
You know.
fellows of the institute.
So you're bringing these great people together. How can Nigerians participate in this event you're having today?
Well, they can join us, one, at the unveiling, which is coming up at 11 o'clock today at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Rotunda Hall of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We're also going to go, we'll be live. If you are not able to attend, we ask you to please watch on television. NTA will be covering the unveiling live from 11 o'clock. And then an AIT and other national broadcast stations. We're also going to be on stream it live, so people can join. This is just the beginning of the journey. So it's not as if it's it's not an event. It's an initiative. So today is just the kickoff of this symbolic, let me use that word, the symbolic kickoff of what we are doing.
And where do we go from here? You are DG, so you are the Director General. So
Where do we go from there?
directing this ship?
Well, immediately, like I said, the president is going to make a request today to the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria through the honorable minister that some of the things we are asking for, this most significant being the designation of October 15 as the Nigeria Reputation Day. We're also going to speak. We have members, our members who are at the National Assembly. We're also reaching out to them who would also be present. So it's either going to come in form of an executive order or something from the National Assembly. So where do we go from here? From today, we begin to prepare for October 15, 2025, when we're going to have our first Reputation Summit. And this time next year, we will be celebrating the first Nigeria Reputation Day. And of course, what you are going to be wanting from us, the charter would already be in place well before then, and which we are going to circulate. And we will be producing for you this time next year, showing you a report, our first annual report, reputation report, on how well we're doing with the issues of reputation, highlighting some of the challenges and preferring, because we are not looking at problems. Let me just quickly say back, we know we have challenges, but there's a saying I like very much. It says, courage is not the absence of fear. It's in spite of fear. So this reputation we're doing, reputation group, it's not because there's absence of problems. We have plenty of problems. It's in spite of the problem. As a matter of fact, where you have problems, what do you have? Opportunities.
How do you intend to galvanize Nigerians abroad? Because when you talk about the image of Nigeria, particularly abroad, you talk about those who live in these countries who are Nigerians. How do you intend to galvanize them, to key in to what you're doing?
So one of we intend to be working with, also with the Abike Dabiri NIDCOM. And then we don't forget that who is our special guest of honor? It is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So once the directive is issued, it will go to all the embassies
missions.
and the missions abroad. And they will, we chose October 15 because it's our Independence Month. So instead of things happening on October 5 and October 1, I beg your pardon, and it stops, the whole of October can be used to celebrate Nigeria globally.
Yeah.
So it's like the president said, what we're looking for is sustainability. We will come and we will go. But the people behind us, all this committee has done is to midwife the group, and then where the group takes over, the group will also build it in such a way that nothing will, it has organs that can make it move.
All right. While you're talking.
By the way, there was something your father told you, which you told us here. My own father, that fish, which has to be eaten. But my own father told me that when an adult sees fire, he dodges, he runs back, or he avoids it, which means an adult knows what is good and what is not good. But he needs to see it. He needs to face danger. Nigerians and Nigeria are facing certain level of danger. And we now have to rise from our own quarters to help in correcting it. I have changed habits. And I'm not a young man by every standard.
Of course, I can see that. It's obvious.
So it can be changed.
Okay, habits can be changed. I agree with you. That's a lot of work, by the way.
Sorry, I think it's not habits can be. Habits will be changed.
Yeah.
That's the mindset we are going about it.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. Whether you like it or not, people follow leadership.
Completely.
And that's
Good
my next
leadership.
question. You
Yes.
know, you just took it right out of my mouth. Leadership. All that you have spoken so far is basically targeted at the Nigerian people. And when we started this conversation, you talked about the fact that governance is the main reason why our reputation has been, a bit battered. What focus, what are you doing in that regards to see that, there's a change in governance?
Well, a general does not unleash all his strategies in the market square. He never tries it. This is one of those strategies we will not unveil here. You will see it. Otherwise, the general is messed up. In fact, he's anticipated, and his equipment is shut down before taking off. So these generals will not tell you that, but know that some of us are experienced in governance and in government. I'll give you a proverb.
That your father told you.
My mother. This one is my mother. This one is from my mother. He said, the labor of a fool wearieth everybody, because the fool does not know how to go to the market. There is a way to go to the market. And we are adopting that way.
Now I have some fears because you are speaking like a politician now. and you have mentioned those who will be attending the event today. And I know that politicians will be in your midst.
Yes.
And governance, of course, politicians are, at the center of it.
Yeah.
Do you think that this organization would be able to change the leadership structure and how it functions in this country?
It's a project. That's all I can say. You want me to say that we are going to topple government? I will say that. I will say that.
I think she even chose, I think she chose the wrong word.
Yeah, I will say that.
Which is change. That's not our work.
That's not
our work is to influence.
Exactly.
Because to influence good governance.
Yeah, PR is influence.
Yes, the truth of the matter is that, nature abhors a vacuum. So when there's nothing to aspire to or nothing to measure by, people, there's fall for, when there's nothing, they fall.
They fall for everything.
But when we start saying that, look at the following indices, look at the following values. When we were growing up, one of the, now, let me also say what my mother would say. She said to you that when you come to the house, said, whose child are you? And I'm sure we all experienced it. Whose child are you? I remember somebody coming to look for maybe my sister driving a car. And where did you get the car? Are you sure? Who are you? Those values are no longer here. And I'm telling you that when we re-entrench them, some of us will say things like, oh, your child comes, and I think NAB mentioned it, and so he doesn't speak Yoruba. He doesn't understand Igbo. Is that so has that become something of a social status? Why shouldn't our children speak
Indeed.
A dialect?
So once we put those things back in place, you will find that there will be many people. The reason why people are following it is because when they think that, look, I want to do, it's like you when you come to a traffic light. I don't know about Abuja, let me talk about Lagos, but you two also drive as bad. In Lagos, you see you are all queuing up to, and somebody pulls out, goes to the other lane, and is driving against traffic. And you see a policeman at the end of the road, you say that policeman is going to arrest that guy. And nothing happens.
At the person.
And walks. Do you know what the next person will do? Will pull out and say, well, there are no consequences for bad behavior. We will point out that there are consequences
for bad behavior. One major thing I would like Nkechi to respond to this. Nkechi Ali Balogun, FNIPR. I'm sure that you would agree, because some people have said in some quarters that the reason why Nigeria's reputation is this bad is because women have not been carried along in how things are done in this country, and also in the way they are being treated. I just want to know, is there a focus, of this group, in dealing with that, just so that, some of the ills, we just celebrated the International Day of the Girl Child some days ago, and of course, some of these challenges, were brought to the fore. Will this group also target that, aspect?
Well, I have a different perspective when it comes to gender inclusion. Okay, in as much as we believe women have peculiar challenges, but in the Institute of Public Relations, we don't believe public relations is not gender discriminatory. We believe that we are all professionals with the capacity to train and to build and mend relationships. And I believe that the woman is specially and naturally created, to carry out this function. So it is not for a woman to think that, oh, because you are included, you must also put your best foot forward. And I think the women in NIPR are doing just that, so that we in Nigerian public relations, women are included, women are invited, but then women also, like I said, have to put their best foot forward because they have a big role to play. Women are naturally endowed with qualities to mend relationships, to manage crises, to instill values into the core people we're talking about right now. And then, you know, you were talking about how we're going to, you know, bring in some other people. We're talking about influence. We're talking about mentorship. And this is where women come in. Women are natural mentors. And this is one of the things that we'll be needing in this country, mentorship. And the DG didn't also tell you that we'll be 3 roles. We'll be doing research. And of course, everybody is, including the women. I don't see us, you know, going especially out of our way to say women coming. Women have to come in. What are we looking for? We're looking for content. We're looking for character. We're looking for knowledge. We're looking for capacity. We're looking for ability. We're not looking for people to fill spaces. We're looking for people who are creative and disruptive, people who know and people who can impact on society, because that is what we're looking for. We have a goal, and this goal must be carried out. This goal must be achieved. Whether you are male, whether you are female, whether you are Christian, whether you are Muslim, that is not what we're looking for. We're looking for people who have the capacity to do the job.
Chiali Balogun, thank you very much. Let me quickly get back here in the studio. Dr. Neliako, Nigeria is a large country. Now, so far, your strategies talk about, you know, at the top level, national level, maybe you break it down to the states, but how do you intend to target Nigerians at the community level? The family, remember, is the smallest nucleus of society. Our society is a large one. How do you intend to take it bit by bit? Because when you get to the national level of millions, hundreds of millions of people, it becomes a difficult job to do. But if you get people from the grassroots and begin to deal with it, chances are that by the time you get to some years, you will have those who are coming up as champions of the reputation that we talk about.
Well, it's important to know that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. We are starting from somewhere. Like he said, it's not a 100 meters dash. It's going to be a relay. In fact, it's going to be an endurance run. Not trek, run. We can't trek, we'll run. So what that means is that this project is designed to start from somewhere and begin to percolate. He told you that it's a bottom-top approach. Before we came to this conclusion, I once told you that we started in 2021. What did we do in 2021? We went around the 6 geopolitical zones to start the campaign on Citizens Summit. And then we held one outside the country that we called Zone 7. That's the diaspora. By the time we finished, we harvested a lot of data. It was the harvest that we got that we now hosted the Citizens Summit in Abuja in August 2022. And then a robust report was written by a 43-man team cut across all the sectors of society. And then in 2023, we now inaugurated the NRMG committee. And in 2024, we are now unveiling the concept, the group, and so on. That will tell you that we are being methodical. We are not in a hurry to do any whitewash thing that we collapse in the next 1 year. No, we are deliberate. We have data of organizations. Those that partnered with us for Citizen Summit are 93 in them. They are still working with us. And this is apart from those that we got from the zones when we went round. Secondly, we are going to work with the Nigerian Governors Forum. We are going to work with Algon. We are taking this. NIPR has structures in all the 36 states of the Federation and FCT. So we have the structure, we have the biggest body of knowledge, We have the point, we have the articulation, we have the platform. I don't see any other organization that is well endowed and well positioned to lead this charge better.
Are you working with
than
CSOs?
the NIPR? Of
Are you
course.
working with CSOs?
They are the 93 organizations I mentioned. Civil society organizations. If you see our Citizen Summit report called Rebooting Nigeria, I forgot to mention that. Rebooting Nigeria 2.0. That's the title of that report. And this is part of what that report says. And that's what we are implementing. We are that's why those who are wise do public relations. Because this is the only profession that takes you through everything in life.
Fantastic, Dr. Ikini.
But let me also add, again, the things that our fathers told us. My father told me that any man that is not afraid of shame, run away from such a, don't have anything to do with such a person. From what the DG was saying, you could see that in our nation today, shame is no longer an issue. People do things. We have to bring back shame to our national lives. That is part of what, and consciousness, that is part of what this group is going to do.
Honestly,
in a very technical and realistic manner.
Watching all the programs that you have brought forward, Dr. Ikini Liako, of course, no doubt you have done very well as the president of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. But, you know, Nkechi Balogun did make mention of something. You know, you talked about carrying the Minister of Information and National Orientation along in this. And she talked about, what if we have a different administration and then the next minister who comes on board, you know, doesn't buy into this project? And then, of course, your tenure would expire soon.
Not soon. It will expire, but not soon.
It will expire. No, it will expire.
Yes,
this is someday it will. Yeah. So your tenure would expire. You know, this is. I see how passionate you are, and you know how you really want to drive this process. So just imagine a new president comes into the NIPR and doesn't share the same passion and optimism like you do, and then we have a different minister. How would this go forward? Okay. What's the plan on ground?
Very good. NIPR is not a parastatal of government. It's important to make this point very clear. NIPR is a creation of law of Nigeria, and it is governed by 22-man governing council, 17 of whom are elected. 5 are appointed by the federal government through the Federal Ministry of Information. The Federal Ministry of Information is the supervising minister, but it is not the authority of NIPR. The authority rests with the governing council. So we need to have that clear. Therefore, whether a minister comes tomorrow or doesn't come tomorrow, if a minister does not work with us, NIPR has sufficient manpower to run its race. I can assure you of that. We stopped receiving government subvention in 2006. And we are still alive today, bouncing stronger. Others stopped receiving their own early this year when it was announced. They almost fainted.
It's not about subvention now. It's about the cooperation of government.
Yeah.
You talked a lot about the Foreign Affairs Minister being on board, talked about Information Minister being on board. If you don't have the cooperation of government, what's likely going to crumble?
Let me tell you this. Value drives relevance. I don't see any government that you will add value to them and they say that they don't want value. Have you ever put sugar in the mouth of a child and he spit it out?
My boy.
NIPR carries value. That whoever is there as Minister of Information will be compelled to work with us because we have value that he needs.
Thank you very
much. We
much.
are not value takers, we are value givers.
Value addition.
We add value. Let me also answer the second part of the question. What if another president of NIPR comes? There is nothing that makes a successful leader than having a successful successor.
Meaning you're planning to be a godfather?
You don't have to be a godfather, but I will tell you this in categorical terms. No successful leader will finish working and working very hard
without planning for a successor.
Without planning for a successful successor. What successful leaders do is that they create an environment for the best to emerge, and then you allow them to play.
Okay.
You don't have to force it, but you create the environment that it becomes very difficult for mediocre to even aspire. The way NIPR is today, if characters come and say they want to be president, the members will shout them down, say, shut up, who told you? That's the way we have built this institute, and that's how we are going to build it.
Fantastic.
That by the time I am handing over, you may have about 6 of them. Any of them is eminently qualified to lead the institute.
And also to run with this vision.
Again, NIPR respects elders. He's here, Nkechi is there, and several of them. At the right time, elders also influence. I mean, there is no organization like NIPR.
So of course, there's godfatherism too in this picture. Thank you very much, Dr. Ike Nyeliaku, President, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and Chairman of Council. Thank you so much for being our guest. Always a pleasure to have you, Mr. President. Of course, Yomi Badejo Okunsoya, Director General, Nigeria Reputation Management Group. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, looking forward to having you some other time as we go forward with this project.
Thank you.
Nkechi Ali Balogun, FNIPR, member Nigeria Reputation Management Group Committee. It was nice having you join us also for this conversation. Thank you so much, and of course, wishing you the very best, and all other women in this committee. All right, so we'll take a break. When we come back, we get into the second leg of our conversation. It's on surveyors. We want to find out what that's about. Stay put.
My administration took over leadership of our country 16 months ago at a critical juncture. The economy faced many headwinds, and our physical security highly impaired. We found ourselves at a distant crossroad where we must choose between 2 paths: reform for progress and prosperity, or carry on the business as usual and collapse. We decided to reform our political economy and defense architecture.
The federal government of Nigeria wants vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables, and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipment will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
The Council of Our Fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
You have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God. for the day of reckoning when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
All right, so this is still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. To begin our second conversation, let's tell you that the Nigerian Institution of Surveyors is the umbrella professional organization for all surveyors in Nigeria, in the private, government, or academic.
Oh, yes, it's a member association of the International Federation of Surveyors. So the organization is marking its 90th anniversary this year. Great fit.
Yeah, indeed. 90 is worth celebrating. So let's welcome some of its members to our program. And joining us here is surveyor Dr. Matthew Ibitoye. He's the president, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning. It is my pleasure to be here.
All right. Also joining us here for the conversation, we have surveyor Abdulganiyu Adeyemi Adebumehin, FNIS, Surveyor General of the Federation, if you like, Triple A. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for having us here.
All right. I also have with us, we also have with us for the conversation, Surveyor Olakunle Olumide Olugbemiro, FNIS, Registrar, Surveyor Council of Nigeria. Triple O. So it's a great...
I think there's something. All right, let's begin this conversation. And let me start with the president of the institution. 90 is, it's something big. I mean, my dad clocked 90 recently, so I know what it means. So
You are lucky.
90 is huge.
Very, very.
What is in the 90 for the Institution of Surveyors?
Thank you. Like you rightly said, 90 is a very huge, it's a long journey for surveyor. It was 90 marked the year the profession started. That was in 1934. By that, our late Abat Macaulay, 5 of them came together to establish what is called License of Your Association of Nigeria in 1934. Olumide, Abat Macaulay, Gray, and the 5 of them like that, but they are of blessed memory. From there, the idea was to come together, relate together, and discuss at a social level. But this thing later metamorphosed. And along the line, the development continues on till 1966. In Enugu Conference, where the name now changed to Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. And since then, we have been moving on and expanding our coast and contributing our quota to Nigerian economy and developing the space of our nation.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Ibitoye. Let's get to the Surveyor General of the Federation now, Surveyor Adebumehin. It's been a long journey. He's tried to make it really short. We know that talking about it 90 years, of course, we may not, end the program today. But just tell us a bit about some of the challenges that surveyors, face and how you're dealing with them.
Well, thank you. The challenges with surveyors are so many because pre-colonial period, we were used to using ropes and stick, and we have our norms, the way we do our things. Then the white came on board and want to change the normal. These are things, you do your things, you have rules that are predominantly by either the emir, the obas. Now they now brought some technology and wanted us to follow their suit. These are new to us, but we still have to follow it because they colonize us. Then during the colonial era, we now brought technology advances. The technological advances brought another norms. So after post-era of the colonial period now, we are now in charge of our own affairs. But at that too, we still have problems. The problems of funding. Another one is capacity development. A lot of us are still finding it difficult embracing the technology. We have not finished one. The whites are introducing another one because the advances keep on evolving every day. They are meant to make life easier for us. And while we are still struggling, getting to know one, another one is coming on board. These are numerous problems with surveying. And one other problem is the Nigerian economy accepting the fact that surveying is everything, is ubiquitous. There's nothing you actually talked about without talking about surveying. So how do we now encourage the government to accept surveying as being solution to all facets of problem we can talk about? 90 is remarkable. And the association on its own has really done much. Training upon training is one of what we have embarked upon. And knowing the requisite software to be adopted when you are looking at a particular problem.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Recently, something happened in Maiduguri. Are we doing the right thing? These are technological advances. They are equipment that will tell us what is going to happen. Maybe in the next, let's say, 5-10 years, up to about 40 kilometers away from wherever you have that equipment. And the popular equipment is what they call continuously operating reference stations. We were advised to have over 200, but we are still struggling with 23 of that. Except for states and some other companies that knows the relevance of all this that are now assisting the government in establishing all important equipment.
I know that if we start going into challenges, of course, we are not going to exit every institution, even a country as a whole has its challenges. But then, you still found the cause to celebrate at 90, regardless of the challenges, because you are coming from somewhere, you have arrived somewhere, you need to be somewhere else, but at least you are somewhere, you are not where you started from. So let's talk about what's in the 90 in terms of what you are celebrating, Surveyor Olugbemiro.
Well, there is so much. Surveying has been there for a profession to be 90, means a lot has happened. Who are surveyors? Surveyors are professionals saddled with the responsibility of the practice of surveying and geoinformatics.
But you won't be doing surveying today, so what's the celebration going to be all about?
I'm just letting you know that we are celebrating the fact that we have been able to do so much for national development, and that's what we are celebrating. We have been there. Nothing happens when you don't know where it is, and that's what the surveyor provides for you, and we have been doing that.
All right. Dr. Peter, I'd like to get to you now. It's 90 years. You know, I was hoping that Surveyor Adeyemi will talk about the fact that, you know, the appreciation or the recognition, you know, to surveyors is still very low, you know, in the country, because except you're very much enlightened, only very few people hear about surveyors, only very few people engage them, you know, in whatever they want to do. But, you know, tell us, now that you're celebrating 90, what do you intend to achieve, you know, going forward as an institution?
Thank you. One of it is what is happening right now. I'm sure Nigeria will be watching this station, that surveyors in Nigeria mark 98th celebration. That is one. Two, this also will tell the public that surveyors are different from other professional bodies. And apart from that, in our own arrangement, we have been trying as much as possible to tell the public who surveyors is and the work they are doing. Like the Surveyor General of the Federation said, this survey profession and their expertise are not used in Nigeria. That is why we are all out telling people that we are the best professional to be consulted, especially when you are planning for any development, except your development is not on the surface of the earth. Both under the ground, water, the blue economy they are talking about, surveyors are the key professional in that area. And so we believe that this celebration, we need to tell the public that these are the area. Because our lecture and other thing we line up for this program tends toward telling the public that what surveyors can offer to national development.
What are the activities lined up for the week?
Shortly after this program, we are going to do Keep Fit, Keep Body Fit. Moving from this, your studio, then through some places here in Abuja. Then that one, then later in the evening we have short meetings. But tomorrow we are having the lecture telling us about, and an erudite professor is coming to come and give us.
Where is that happening and who is invited?
Yeah, Professor Yinka Balogun, the first professor of cartographer in Nigeria, is coming. Then the royal father, Emir of Kano, Lamido. Then the governor of Imo State is going to be special guest of honor.
Okay, so where is it happening? Where's the event happening and who is invited? I mean, can Nigerians, anybody just walk into the venue?
You are welcome.
Okay.
You are welcome. It's
I won't
not
be stopped at the gate.
It's not meant for surveyor alone, for Nigeria. Even we are inviting people to come and celebrate with us. It's a celebration. It's not an internal affair. It's a celebration, and we are even telling Nigerian populace that they should come and celebrate with us. And it's happening at WAC WAP. Guadu.
Okay. Maybe you have the details. Let us know the details about the week-long activities.
Well, we are starting with a road walk. After the road walk, there's going to be an health talk. Then there's going to be an erudite scholar in the field of cartography. That's the first professor in cartography will be coming in. Some invited guests, and we'll be running it up tomorrow. And the guest speaker tomorrow is the Minister for Housing and Urban Development, His Excellency, what's his name now?
Just go on with the information. The Minister of Housing, that's sufficient.
Will be around to share the occasion. And then we round it up with a Ghana lunch tomorrow. That's the program.
I think that's the one that interests me the most. But just before we go, in 1 minute.
There's another one that will interest you. We want to go on a fundraising. So that one will
that won't interest me.
That one will interest you.
Because that will be
fundraising for what purpose?
Yeah, for we want to have a befitting secretariat here in Abuja, bidding for NIS. We have in Lagos, but we want one here in Abuja. So definitely we are going to invite you.
All right, let's take the last 30 seconds to ask Surveyor Olugbeniro to tell us what would you be telling, on this occasion of 90th anniversary, would-be surveyors, aspiring surveyors.
Well, there is so much in surveying, and they can't give so much if our founding fathers have taken us this far. There is so much we can do. They all just need to join hands with the NIS and ensure the profession grows better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Surveyor Olakunle Olumide Olugbemiru, FNIS, Registrar, Surveyors Council of Nigeria, Triple O. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Good morning, Nigeria. Wishing you the best in your celebration. Of course, Surveyor A.A. Adebumehi, FNIS, Surveyor General of the Federation. It was a pleasure to have you, Triple A. And of course, Surveyor Dr. Matthew Olomolaton Ibitoye, FNIS, President, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, ma. Appreciate you.
And yes, looking forward to many more celebrations. 100, 120.
Thank you, ma.
And
Thank you.
of course, still keep doing great. All right, so that's good morning, Nigeria, this Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Henry John. Remain tuned to the NTA.
And I'm Victor Azu. Join us again.